is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. The person involved in a fatal shooting this morning in Castleton is no longer in custody. Cass County investigators say that the shooter called police at about 2 this morning, saying that he shot someone at Club 94 Bar and Grill. That victim died at the hospital. The sheriff's investigator says that the suspect was released following an investigation that they believe there are no safety risks to the public from the shooter. An update this afternoon as the children injured in last week's school bus crash with a pickup are now out of the hospital. Clay County investigators identified the driver as 30-year-old Joel Shipley. They say he was northbound on 40th Street and did not yield at the intersection. The bus driver, 61-year-old Todd Capps, was heading eastbound on 190th Street North. Once the investigation is complete, it's expected that the report will go on to the county attorney, who will determine charges. Police need your help in finding someone who they say was involved in multiple break-ins. Dilworth investigators posted this video on Facebook describing vehicle break-ins throughout the weekend. If you have any information, call the number on your screen. It's 218-287-2666. Meanwhile, the search continues for stolen vehicle out of Moorhead last Wednesday. It happened while the owner was delivering pizza for Domino's. The Dodge Avenger has a Minnesota plate number that's on your screen. If you see the car, contact authorities on the number on your screen. Wouldn't it be nice if we could bottle up today's weather, put it on the shelf, and say release it sometime in January? Conditions are great. Hutch is here with details on tonight. Hutch?
Hey, Mike, thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Heading into the evening, you might even want to bottle it up for later in the week because we have changes on the way. Get out and enjoy the beautiful conditions tonight. Almost perfect. Just a few high clouds here at the Home of Economy location in Grand Forks. Take a look at this. Temperatures right now are approaching records. Today's record highs are in the 70s. A little cooler than for most of the early to mid-November dates, but 76 your record in Grand Forks and the record here in Fargo, 79. We're going to kiss those records this afternoon. Now take a look at this. Planning forecast. Get out and enjoy. If you have yard work to do, just get out and maybe barbecue again because temperatures are absolutely awesome. Now after sunset, we cool fairly quickly. We'll have a few clouds moving in though as changes begin before we even wake up. And we have to tell you this right now. We have a first alert weather day. We're expecting some freezing cold to be heading our way. We'll have hour-by-hour details, Mike, on that and the rest of your planning forecast here in just a couple of moments.
Cold weather, it's that time of year.
It is.
All right, thanks, Hutch. The FBI is helping with hostage negotiations in Haiti after 17 Christian missionaries were abducted there over the weekend. The U.S. State Department says officials are in contact with the families of the abducted group, which includes 16 Americans and a Canadian. 5 of them are children. Natalie Brand is at the White House with the latest on U.S. efforts to bring them to safety.
A senior law enforcement official tells CBS News FBI tactical teams are on the ground in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, ready for a possible rescue mission and assisting in making contact with the kidnappers of 17 missionaries.
Where our efforts right now are focused are with officials on the ground, including from the FBI, working closely with our diplomatic team and the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince, who's coordinating with local authorities, providing assistance to the families.
The missionaries were affiliated with Ohio-based Christian Aid Ministries, which released a statement saying, "We request urgent prayer for the group of Christian Aid Ministries workers who were abducted while on a trip to visit an orphanage." The gang believed to be responsible is known to carry out mass kidnappings from buses and cars. CBS News obtained a WhatsApp message from a person who claims to have been in contact with the abducted group, which read in part, "Please pray for us. We're being harassed, kidnapped. They have control of our vehicle." Haiti has been rocked by turmoil in recent months with the assassination of the country's president, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, and the mass return of thousands of Haitian migrants from the U.S. southern border. Gary Pierre, founder and publisher of the Haitian Times, says gangs feel empowered amid the chaos.
There's no functioning government, and the gangs rule Port-au-Prince and the country at large.
The Center for Analysis and Research in Human Rights says there's been more than 600 kidnappings in Haiti just this year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The U.S. State Department, meanwhile, has a do not travel advisory in place for Haiti, citing kidnapping, crime, civil unrest, and COVID-19. Back at home, the Crookston Catholic Diocese has a new leader. Pope Francis is appointing Father Andrew Cozens to be its next bishop. Cozens will be installed as the new bishop on December 6th. The former bishop, Michael Hepner, resigned over multiple sexual abuse cover-up accusations. Kobe Bryant's widow must undergo an independent psychiatric evaluation. Vanessa Bryant sued Los Angeles County and its sheriff's office last year, alleging that the leaked photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband and their daughter caused emotional distress. Bryant and other family members are seeking tens of millions of dollars in damages from the county. The defendants argued that this severe emotional distress was caused by the crash and not the sharing of the photos. Soldier and statesman Colin Powell passed away. He wore many different hats during his time in Washington, D.C. But in a town that is known for its political divisiveness, Powell was known as someone who always sought unity and made decisions based on principles, not politics. Skylar Henry has more details outside Walter Reed Memorial Medical National Center in Bethesda, Maryland.
President Biden ordered the U.S. flag be flown at half-staff in honor of one of America's most famous soldiers and statesmen.
Obviously a heartbreaking tragedy for the country, and one the president is feeling personally.
Presidents Obama and Bush both praised Powell's service and called him a friend. Powell endorsed Obama in his first run for the White House, calling Obama a transformational figure. And he served as Secretary of State under President Bush, where he often pushed back against the use of military force.
I believe Secretary Powell's years as a soldier are what made him such an exceptional diplomat. He knew that war and military action should always be a last resort.
General Powell tended to downplay any portrayal of him as a symbol for black achievement, but there is no denying he broke down barriers and created a path for others to follow.
First African-American chairman of the Joint Chiefs, first African-American Secretary of State, a man who was respected around the globe.
Lloyd Austin, who himself is the first African-American Secretary of Defense, said Powell was more than just a soldier and statesman. He was a friend and mentor.
I could always go to him with tough issues. He always had great counsel. We will certainly miss him. I feel as if I have a hole in my heart.
President Biden praised Powell's selflessness in a statement saying, time and again he put country before self, before party, before all else, in uniform and out, and it earned him the universal respect of the American people. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Bethesda, Maryland.
And in addition to his long-lasting legacy, General Powell leaves behind a wife and 3 children. Colin Powell's family has said he was fully vaccinated for COVID-19, which means he had a breakthrough infection. Powell had underlying conditions, including Parkinson's disease, and had been treated for multiple melanoma, which can severely compromise the immune system. Immunocompromised people may always not build up the same levels of immunity after vaccination as healthy people.
Of severity of infection, over 90% of them continue to be people who are unvaccinated.
More than 189 million people in the U.S. have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. To date, the CDC has received reports of nearly 32,000 patients with breakthrough infections who were hospitalized or died. Dr. Schaffner also says people at high risk for severe COVID should get their booster if eligible. Don't forget, if you're planning to go to the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame game in Tennessee, you're going to need to be tested. The game will feature the UND Fighting Hawks. It's going to take place on the 30th. Now, you'll need a negative COVID test within 72 hours of the event or proof of vaccination. Free rapid COVID tests will be offered, and we have information on that on our website. Go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. Former employees joined current Southwest Airlines workers to protest COVID vaccination mandates today. They gathered outside the airline's headquarters in Dallas. It comes after the deadline Southwest set for employees to get vaccinated, which was the first week of October. That mirrors the federal deadline set for workers at companies that hold contracts with the U.S. government. Most domestic carriers are following the executive order, with Delta Airlines a notable exception. Later on Valley News Live at 4, down the highway they go, carrying the supplies you and I need. And they do so without drivers.
Here in the 4 o'clock hour, temperatures are spectacular in the valley, mid-70s, and it's 81 degrees in Gwinner. We're not far from record highs for this time of the year. Later in the week, you may need to bring the laundry in from the clothesline. We'll tell you about a hard freeze potential coming up right after this.